coming. YouTube. Good evening, my lovelies. Bonsoir, mes beautés. Je vais juste muter. Non, celui-là. There we go. Welcome to another night of roundtable discussion. Merci, Mark. Roundtable discussion. The Facebook groups. J'espère que vous avez vu justement. J'avais fait un message sur tous les groupes, autant que I posted it this afternoon on the groups and on my Facebook page, Andrew James Photography. So you'll be able to find a bit.ly link, which is just un raccourci pour le lien pour se rejoindre si vous voulez rejoindre le Zoom. So if you guys want to participate in the Zoom call, I put a bit.ly link on my Facebook page, Andrew James Photography, that you guys will be able to click on every month. It's going to be the beginning of the month, usually the first weekend, so the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday. Justement, je crois que le mois prochain, I'll post the date, mais le mois prochain, I think I've had to switch it to the Saturday instead of the Friday. But I'm still bringing back exactly the photo reviews and the roundtable, which I will hope to invite many other guests to help me and my co-hosts here, Uncle Bob and Mark, because now they have actually jumped up here to co-hosts now.
Okay. Bob, as-tu ton augmentation?
Oui, 0 plus 0, ça fait 0.
Let me just check real quick. Where did I put the today I thought we would talk a little bit about I posted on the Facebook message that we would talk about the power of storytelling through photography, how to create a compelling narrative with our images. Justement, Marc et moi, on a parlé de les deux noirs et blancs qui avaient posté, qui a soumis à le groupe Photography with AJ. Deux très bien réussis noirs et blancs, plutôt dans le style de
film noir.
Film noir, merci.
Cinéma noir.
Before we get on to that, let's welcome our co-hosts.
Hello, me,
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob.
Mark. Let's start with Uncle Bob. How have you been? What did you do in the last month?
I unfortunately had to go to Costa Rica. And I did that exactly when the two storms came to Montreal. So
really?
I left and the storms jumped in.
Oh, that's right. Yes. You're right.
And I brought my Nikon digital, my first Nikon digital, the D5300 lenses. And I realize now that I like a lot better my DZ.
Oh, yeah?
I like the 5300 too, but now the DZ it took over.
Okay.
So next time I go, I'm bringing the DZ.
What was the big difference?
I found in the sharpness of the pixels.
Okay.
Because naturally the 5300 is a half frame and the other one's a full frame.
Okay.
So that makes it, I didn't realize it before I had a full frame, but there's a good difference,
Oh, yeah?
So, but the camera works fine. Its exposures are fine. Everything's okay. It's just that when you put them side by side, you can see things, And that's it. Basically, I didn't do much more than that. And I've been back a week now, and I haven't shot yet anything because I'm still cleaning up what I did in Costa Rica. So.
But you also got a Nikon S3.
S2, yes. S2 is full of black and white film.
Okay.
Full of H35. It hasn't been developed yet, but it will be soon. Probably when I develop when I developed Mark's thing. Mark's,
Ah, quoi, c'est toi qui as hérité de ça?
No, no, I still got it. I still got
I
he
it.
still got
know.
it.
We bug you, AJ. We bug you.
So maybe it'll be done at the same time. We'll see. Plus, I loaded my F3 with the color film. So
Oh, good, great, fantastic. Marc, toi,
I did.
yeah.
Sorry, just one more thing. I did buy a Nikkormat EL.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, I bought a
Just
Nikkormat
received it.
EL, and which is the next one to get it film in it. So
Okay. Actually, just was it yesterday? Yeah, avant-hier. No, yesterday. I put my well, right now my poor
yeah, Retina.
like my Zeiss icon.
Yes, I second. Yeah.
Yeah, the shutter died on it, so I've been trying to see if I can't fix it. I haven't been able to open it up all the way yet. I'm still working on that. But in the meantime, I went back to using my Kodak Retina 3C.
Yeah, which is a nice machine. Yeah.
Yeah, and that one, and it's about the same thing. It's just it's a folder instead of being fixed like this one here.
Yeah, yeah.
Mark,
Yes.
how about you? Qu'est-ce que tu as fait depuis le mois passé?
Ben, comme on a discuté au début de la fin de semaine, on n'a pas fait grand-chose, mais on a développé plus dans le style film noir. Alors, je fais beaucoup de recherches là-dessus. Je regarde les idées, voir s'il y a peut-être d'autres affaires que je peux faire, puis tout ça. Alors, j'en ai un en tête, mais essayer d'adapter ça à chez moi, là, en utilisant la descente de la cave, puis en mettant un scrim,
Oui,
un gros panneau blanc et en mettant les flashs en arrière. Alors, je vais créer style film noir, mais un shadow picture, une photo ombrage.
OK.
Alors ça, c'est le prochain plan qui va être fait. Si je suis chanceux, je vais pouvoir l'apporter à notre club que Bob fréquente et moi aussi, à Rivière-des-Prairies.
Oui, oui.
On a eu mercredi dernier un thème qui était le noir et blanc.
Oui,
Alors, tout le monde a apporté des photos noir et blanc qui ont été faites récemment.
Oui.
Je calcule que c'est un bon niveau d'idée parce qu'on a tous les genres là-bas. Alors,
nice.
c'est ça qui est le
Ouais.
fun. Tu sais.
T'es rendu combien de membres là-bas maintenant?
Je pense qu'on est au-dessus d'une vingtaine parce qu'il y a des fois,
Oui.
des semaines, il y a du monde qui manque, comme Bob qui s'en va et utilise une excuse, la neige est trop dur pour lui. Alors, mais
Oui.
c'est ça, c'est qu'on est à peu près, on est plus qu'une vingtaine.
Oh,
Oh,
oui, je pense que oui, certain.
good.
Next Wednesday, Jean-François O'Kane's going to be there.
Oh my
Oui.
God. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And Fab asked us to bring 2 pictures on a USB key. I don't know if Jean-François is going to see them or evaluate them or.
Okay.
Ce que j'ai compris, c'est que c'est deux photos qui nous tiennent à cœur dans notre vie de photographe. Puis là, je ne sais pas s'il va discuter, voir, parce que lui, il a quand même une vision. Là, j'ai essayé de faire un petit peu de recherche. Moi, j'ai rencontré le monsieur une couple de fois, on me l'a présenté, mais j'ai jamais vraiment pu voir son bassin de travail.
Okay.
Alors, on me dit qu'il est photographe dans plusieurs petits domaines, là, puis tout ça. J'ai hâte de le découvrir et
Okay.
d'apprendre beaucoup sur ce photographe-là. Puis je
Ouais.
pense que comme Bob a dit, il est supposé de prendre les deux photos qu'on lui amène, puis faire une critique ou voir qu'est-ce que des fois, tu sais, l'optique de quelqu'un d'autre, d'un autre photographe, des fois, c'est pas que la photo va être extraordinaire, mais un petit détail qu'il peut apporter, ça fait monter la coche.
Yeah.
Tu sais? Alors,
Mhm.
si vous êtes des photographes qui sont capables de prendre une critique positive, pas dire Hey, c'est pas bon, c'est pas
Non,
bon.
c'est pas
Là,
juste ça, c'est qu'il faut que ça soit faut que ça soit créatif.
oui.
Faut que ça
Oui,
Alors,
soit,
absolument.
ça t'aide à monter.
Ben, je
c'est
pense
ça.
Jean-François, je le connais depuis longtemps parce que originalement, c'est un de mes clients. Puis en plus, on travaillait tous les deux. Moi, je faisais la sorte dans les raffineries de l'Est, puis lui, il faisait de la photo dans les raffineries de l'Est. Ça, je la connais de là. Puis récemment, j'ai été voir son studio. Très bien, il est très bien arrangé là, en dedans. Là. Il y a des beaux backgrounds, il y a toutes sortes d'affaires, bien des gens de lumière. Non, il est vraiment bien, tu sais. Puis c'est vraiment la première fois qu'on a eu le temps de se parler sans être in work, you know what I mean? Tu sais. And we talked for about an hour and a half, and we found that we did about the same thing, you know, as we were growing up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tu sais, puis, c'était le fun de le voir. Puis, non,
Well, I know him through the photo clubs, and I also know him because il avait fait justement un salon de la photo avec nous autres
ouais,
pour le portrait
yeah.
de studio. So he was demonstrating the studio equipment using his models.
Well,
uh,
you could be his son except for the beard. Now his beard is not here.
I don't know. He had a rather long beard
Well,
last
he's got a good
Ouais.
beard. Yeah, he's got a good-
Mais non, non, c'est un bonhomme. Moi justement, mardi, je vais être à le club de photos de la Prairie.
yeah.
Je vais parler de, I'm going to be talking about portfolios, kind of how to, suggestions on how to set them up and give a little bit of guidance on what types of portfolios we can create. And as a matter of fact, it's going to be my first time Wednesday night, right after my last class on Friday. I'm going to be hoofing it down to Victoriaville.
Ah,
OK.
bon.
I'm going to be doing how to analyze the photograph, comment analyser un photographe, la photographie. Fait qu'on on va parler de ça. Fait que ça va être intéressant. Ça va être la première fois que je vais à Victoriaville. Apparently it's about an hour and 3/4 from the store. Uh, so j'ai hâte à faire ce petit trajet-là pour, and like I said, Victo, I only see them usually during the SPPQ, which for those who don't know, here in Quebec, we have an association called l'Association de promotion de la photographie du Québec, or de Québec. I always get the title wrong. And basically what it is, it's kind of pas un regroupement, but c'est un groupement de tous les clubs photo, or la plupart des clubs photo de Québec.
Ouais, de Québec, ouais.
Et puis, eux autres, ils tiennent 5 concours. And as everybody knows, most people know, I mean, I love my photo clubs. I love all the members. I'm just not always also keen on the competition that photo clubs bring out in us. But so long as you kind of humble yourself enough to say that, my true and only competition is myself 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
Keep it nice, and you keep it nice, and
Well, that's what I like about RDP Club. There's not I think we're all encouraging each other to do
Yeah.
better. You
and,
know what I mean?
and that's what photo clubs should be, is they should be it's a community, right?
Yeah,
Place to grow.
Positive community.
yeah, exactly. It's to grow, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's to grow as a photographer, as a visual artist. I just want to, before I forget, I do want to mention Bière et Camera Montréal. They had a photo walk this morning. I evidently wasn't able to make it because I was working this morning. I had to give classes this morning. But I hope they had a wonderful day. I know it was really cold out today. J'espère qu'ils ont tous vraiment eu du fun à photographier quand même. I saw some of the Instagram reels that people were posting à fur et à mesure. So I just wanted to say hi to everybody there, and hopefully I'll see you all in March. Yeah, no, well, this is March. So no, sorry, in April. And hopefully we'll be able to get Uncle Bob down there too, and Mark at the same time.
Yeah, on try it, Mark?
Ouais, mais moi, j'y vais en numérique.
Oh no, c'est correct. Bière et Camera
Correct.
Montréal, it's everything.
Non.
La plupart, c'est l'argentique, but it doesn't matter.
Ramène
Everybody
les
knows,
deux.
even iPhone.
Ouais, je devrais amener les deux. Honnêtement, là, c'est que ça me force à me prendre de sortir de la zone de confort puis de sortir avec l'appareil qui dit que tu es obligé de prendre du temps d'analyser avant de peser sur le déclencheur.
Mais ça, c'est juste une façon de faire. Puis ça
Moi,
se
je-
fait autant en numérique qu'en argentique. It's just parce que le numérique est tellement instant, we have a habit of constantly shooting more than we need.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you 100%.
C'est qu'on est porté à protéger nos arrières. En d'autres mots, voilà l'idée que je veux. Si j'ai le temps, mais je vais modifier quelques paramètres dans ma caméra et reprendre une photo en cas que. Mais vous autres, vous êtes des vieux professionnels, alors c'est pour ça que les jeunes comme moi, on est porté à faire.
Même à ça, Marc, moi, professionnel ne veut pas dire qu'est-ce que ça voulait dire. Ça
Oui,
voulait dire il y a 20 ans non plus.
oui.
Aujourd'hui, you got to be careful with, I find you got to be careful with the word professional because I don't know, ça porte pas qu'est-ce que ça portait il y a 20 ans.
Non, c'est ça,
Si
c'est
on
ça.
regarde
C'est
dans
comme
le
Cadillac, ça apporte pas la même chose.
C'est ça exactement. I mean, the Cadillac in the 70s was something. Today, it's like BMW. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry's got a BMW now. I mean, BMW, the main place is here in Saint Julie. Like, serious.
Yeah, it's, you know.
You know what I mean? When they came out with the BMWs, the 1 series, the 2 series, the 3 series, the 4 series, the 5 series, the 6 series, the 7, the 8, and come on.
Ben oui.
Come on, Danny. It was literally you had the 3, you had the 5, you had the 6, you had the 7, and that was it. Oh, and the 8. You had the 8, c'est vrai.
Non,
Fait que, en tout cas.
Ah ben, j'en ai une question parce que tu as
Vas-y.
mentionné quelque chose. Tu t'en allais faire une présentation sur les portfolios.
Ouais.
Alors, je vous pose la question, les gars. Est-ce que vous préférez un portfolio qu'on peut présenter sur une tablette ou d'avoir le vieux livre qu'on met sur la table puis qu'on a regarde? Moi, je sais déjà la réponse à AJ parce que, écoute, ça fait depuis l'enfance qu'on se
Ouais.
connaît. Mais
Pas mal sûr que j'ai la même réponse.
oui. OK,
Pas
mais moi,
mal sûr.
vous la laisser
On the
partager avec
table
le
is on
monde,
the
là.
table.
Exactement.
On the
OK.
table is on the table. Tu peux pas le battre. Écoute, mal pris, tu peux montrer ton téléphone, tu peux montrer ton iPad, mais
Ça.
printed on the table, 11, 14 et plus, yeah.
Puis
You know?
même, je vais dire, even the ones that I'm going to have 2 or 3 that I'm going to present myself, that I got to finish printing up tomorrow night. Je l'ai ratissé genre à 8 par 10.
8 par 10 minimum.
Juste parce que c'est plus portatif.
Oui.
The reason why, I'll be honest with you, that I prefer the physical print, well, it's because evidently, Uncle Bob, dark room prints. When you print an image, that image, no matter where you show it, will have the same colors, will have the same brightness, will have it's frozen into the paper.
Yeah.
A screen you send out, and this is exactly what I talk about during the conference, is that yes, having it on an iPad, having it on a MacBook Pro or an iPad Pro or whatever, c'est plus portatif because you don't have to carry around paper and the extra weight. But part of the print is the type of paper you've chosen to use. That adds also to the image. Because basically you're adding an extra sense, the sense of touch. And when you pick up a print and you take the time to look at that print, you're not, I wouldn't say forced, but you're not motivated to swipe to see what the next one's going to be. Is the next one going to be better than the last one I saw?
Yeah.
And when you see on the phone, when you see on a tablet, that's the tendency we have. What's the next one going to be? Is the next one going to be better? Hoping that the next one will be better, and it's not necessarily even the fact of is one photo better than another. It's what put this series of photos together by the photograph. Le photographe, je veux dire, the photographer, right? A portfolio is more than just showing your best images. They have to be able to, and Uncle Bob can vouch for it. Last month when we talked about series,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Because a portfolio is a series of photos.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm more for, and when I say a book, my prints are actual prints in a portfolio book. So there's sleeves that you put the 8x10s or the 11x14s in, and tu feuilles tes pages, but tu peux les enlever pour les, pour les tenir.
Not only that, when you look at a printed, if it's in color or in black and white, when you look at a printed photograph, 8x10 or bigger, you can feel the grain.
Yeah.
You can sense the differences in the light and in the tones. Whereas on an iPad or something like that, on dirait c'est plus like a TV,
Mhm.
and you don't get to see the well, you got to really look hard to see the pixels and to see
C'est ça.
you know what I mean? Whereas as on a printed thing, like in the back stuff here, there, see you get to see how that image became that image. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not only that,
Aussi qu'il y a des rétro-éclairés.
ben,
Oui, c'est ça,
c'est ça, c'est rétroéclairé. Puis l'affaire aussi, c'est que souvent, qu'est-ce qui arrive, c'est que si la personne qui la regarde trouve que la photo est sombre, ils ont toujours la tendance euh,
Sur-éclairés.
éclairer exactement l'écran. But a print is a print is a print is a print. If a photographer decides to choose to print his print slightly darker than normal, well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, it's part of the artistic
Part of the artistic visual of the print.
Yeah.
If a photographer decides to absolutely blow out his highlights on a print, you have to see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And this comes to another and on all of this, everything we're talking about right now even ties into the topic that I had chosen for tonight,
Yes,
which
it
is
is.
storytelling.
Absolutely.
In that, do we allot enough time to viewing a photo on a tablet or on a phone, on a screen? Do we allot enough time justly for the time that that photographer, that artist used to create that image? Because a few months ago, I remember specifically, I was doing a conference in a photo club, and one of the members there had justly said that if she doesn't like a photo, or sorry, if they don't like a photo, they swipe right through it. Yeah, but wait a minute. If you don't take the time to actually look at the photo, because you're not necessarily, the purpose of a viewer is not to reinterpret the image. The interpretation is in the image already. That's the photographer, that's the artist's interpretation. And we tend to mix up our opinion with our interpretation. Right? Uncle Bob, what do you think? Storytelling is you telling the story through your image,
Yeah.
not somebody reinterpreting your interpretation.
Well, the whole idea of telling a story through an image is to tell the story, not to really have it reinterpreted.
Exactly.
It's to tell the story, so you hope that you've taken it well enough that the person's looking at it would get the idea of the story.
I'll argue it's something different with that.
Go ahead.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I may try with my picture as much as possible to get an idea across or something like that, or a message, but it comes down to basically the viewer who will look at my picture. Now, we can always say that if I didn't tell the story correctly with the image that I gave, my message won't go across. You can get up in the morning, and even if it's raining, it's a wonderful day for you. You've got your hot cup of coffee or your cocoa, and it's incredible. And when you'll see an image, it'll be the best image that you've seen in a century. While you wake up the next day and you've had bad news previously, your car won't start. You get an argument with a loved one or something like that, and then you see the image, and it'll be the crappiest picture that day. Say,
I'm going to argue, Mark,
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to argue that phrase, that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, for me, is a rationalization of me not liking something or liking something to what I expect. But art by an artist is meant to be interpreted the way the artist wants to present it. Now, if I don't see that story in it, then evidently there's something that the artist, that evidently there's something in what the artist did that is not conveying that message, and therefore that story is not clear. See, I'm not, whether you call me an artist, you call me a photographer, whatever, everything that I shoot has to have a story. If it doesn't have a story, it means I missed the moment.
Do you
Today,
not
when you
shoot
look
for
at
something beautiful?
how we're saturated with specifically Monsieur Madame Tout le Monde snapshots on the internet, right? The problem is that people don't know how to convey the message of the moment that they're trying to represent. So they just snap. Anybody can snap a moment. Anybody. But nobody asks themselves, wait a minute, does this shot of the 15 shots I took in that second, does this shot tell the story? And if it doesn't, that means to me that I missed the second, or I missed that moment.
I just want to add one thing, is that, we say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but not all shots are beautiful, and not all shots are meant to be beautiful.
Exactly.
No.
The shots in general, we try to tell the story. Even when I photograph my grandchildren, naturally they're beautiful, but at the same time, I want to tell the story. Were they sad? Were they happy? Were they, whatever, were they surprised? You know what I mean?
It's exactly what when I have family members say, oh no, don't take a picture of that.
Exactly.
Why not? Why not? It's a moment. If I take the time to take that picture, it's not that I'm trying to emphasize something wrong or something bad or something sad, right? It's just that I'm trying. Don't forget, we're documentarians.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Whether it's sad, whether it's actually,
we are archivers, actually.
We're archivers, exactly.
Yeah.
On est des archivistes. What's that? The old port, World Press.
Yeah, World Press. Yeah.
It must be at least 5 or 6 years I have not gone down to see the World Press. And the reason that I don't go to see the World Press is because it has become such a medium of sensationalism. All the photos that I've seen in the last, well, let's say the last couple of years, let's say 5 or 6 years ago, were constantly misery, destruction. And I understand as photographers, we capture these moments to bring attention to these sad events happening. But photography in itself is so much more than that. Photography is happiness as much as it is sadness, as much as it is loss. It has to be balanced. And for some reason in the last, I'd say easily though, well, I'll be honest with you, for me, it's since digital photography in the last 20, 25 years, it has become so sensationalized that all we look for is the impact. Or a few years back when we opened up the store, we took the store here on the South Shore, we took not a management
survey,
a seminar, a talk on, and they talk about the wow factor. I'm sorry, but that wow factor doesn't, for me, the wow factor is an exaggeration of sensationalism. I don't know. Anybody else wants to chime in?
Well, listen, there's some photographs that can be that can have a wow factor in them.
Absolutely.
There's some that can't. Is it what we're all looking for? Not sure.
Yeah.
I know when I photograph, and the thing I love to photograph the most is people.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love to go get their soul as much as I can. And that means in happiness and sadness and in any human endeavor to
Mhm.
see where I can get their soul from. Now, some shots they do come out wow.
Yeah.
But it's the wow factor is something a power. You know,
Apollo. That's right.
it's like you're lucky to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The rest is what? You know, it's trying to tell the story of whatever, you know, I'm trying to tell with the photograph. So it's hard to say, but going back to the world press photography,
Yeah.
I understand that the world has a lot of chaos in it and it has a lot of bad things happening. It does have good things happening too. But when I went to the, which was about 3 years ago, when I went to the World Press Photography, and I'm going to probably go this summer, but I found that they had a pretty good balance.
Oh,
You know,
did they?
yeah, a pretty good balance of things that were happy to see and things that was very sad to see.
Okay.
You know, because these things are true and they happen in the world. You know, and we can't really get away from it. You know, the difference, I do agree with you. The difference is since the digital era, you have more photographs to choose from. We don't see them; they chose them.
Yeah.
But in the olden days, they had cameras filled with 36 shots in them.
Right.
You know, and instead of having two cameras, digital cameras, they had five,
Yeah.
five film cameras. You know, to get because they didn't have time to change film and all this stuff here.
That's it.
You know what I mean? That's the way it was shot. So I have great respect for the world press photographers
Uh-huh.
en général. So, you know, but
And
you know, a wow factor can be like your shot that you did of yourself with the guitar and the thing. You know,
Yeah.
I found that an excellent shot. It depicted the story. It had good lighting. You know, and say en général, it's a good shot. See?
Right. But like you're saying is, unfortunately, at the World Press, we won't want to go see little kitty cat pictures,
No,
which is
no.
filling the internet right now of things. And my girlfriend is very happy to see them. It makes her feel good. So there is getting the story, there
Yeah.
is getting emotion, and
Yeah.
there is getting a picture where there's not too much, but the person looking at the picture feels good with it. So
Yes, absolutely.
it's all these types of photography.
Definitely. I mean,
For sure.
snapshot photography, like the thing is that we tend to mistaken snapshot photography for fine art photography.
Yeah.
It's not fine art. Snapshot photography exists since the 1900s when Kodak brought out the first Brownie,
Yeah.
right? Their philosophy was simple. You take you take the shot and we'll do the rest.
Yeah.
Subjects had to be at a certain distance. You only had one shutter speed. Everybody's got to stand still. You had to be in a certain amount of light. You didn't have flashes and stuff like that. It was just click, and you hope you got the shot.
And oddly enough, today in 2025, those pictures from 100 years ago have become art
Yes,
because
they're vintage.
they're vintage and because they're just normal, everyday people, and we're looking to read the story and what they were doing.
Exactly.
You know,
Having a camera that does 120 frames per second, I always argue, if you miss the second, you got 120 shit shots.
yeah,
Period.
absolutely.
And when you're shooting, and I know I'm gonna have arguments and I'm gonna have debates with sports photographers. But for them, there's a reason why they'll shoot those images because things happen so fast that they need that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like cameras today. Apparently, which one is it? The A9 and the Z and the A9 from Sony and the Z9 from Nikon, the Z8. I think the A7 LS-085R from Sony and the Panasonic, the S5 Mark II, actually shoots a second before and a second after you hit the shutter. Just to
How
make
can you shoot
sure.
a second before?
Yes,
Did it already pass, or it's considered that I'm recording everything until you press,
there you
and I'll
go.
give you a buffer of 1 second before.
Yes.
Okay, c'est
Oh,
beau.
sorry, it might not be a second, but I think it's a quarter of a second or half a second before, half a second after, something like that.
I'll tell you, the only time I put my digitals
Yeah.
on C is for sports or something very fast.
Yeah.
Animal photography, where you're talking birds. Today I had
I
But
never
even
use
at
it.
that,
I
I'll
never
go for
use
the
it.
birds like with the S,
You know what I mean?
because I'll follow them. See, you know.
Yeah.
yeah, but today I had a Cooper's hawk in my backyard.
Yeah.
And I took a picture and I had him sort of taking off, but I was taking single pictures. I wasn't taking the machine gun thing.
Right.
But because I've been researching hawks all the time, and I know that when they aim to go, I'll say it cleanly, to the bathroom, you know that in the very few seconds after that, they will take off. So I have the picture of him taking off, but I consider myself very lucky to have him at that frame.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Say,
Sure,
Just,
but if you had it on S, you're even luckier.
yeah,
yeah.
because you're training yourself
That's right. There
to
you
be
go.
able to see the moment you should have shot it,
Exactamente.
right?
Exactamente.
And I know, we do these things, we have these functions because we want, the companies want to enlarge the basin of clientele to justement les amateurs et surtout les novices.
When I was a kid, I sorry, Andrew.
Non, 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 vas-y, vas-y.
When I was a kid, I went to Mont Tremblant
Ouais.
to see the races at Can-Am.
Oh,
Okay, I was placed in the hill someplace, me and a friend, and I had a Nikon with a 105 millimeter lens on it, which wasn't a big telephoto, but it was just nice. And as the cars came over the hill, the car of Jackie Oliver, and now this is what I'm doing. I'm following that car from the top of the hill, and I haven't shot yet, but the car starts to flip like that. Okay, into a major accident. And once it went up in the air, once I saw that front go up, then manually, because I had no motor, manually click, 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 click. And that got me these beautiful shots that were printed in Journal de Montréal. I got screwed because the guy said he was supposed to pay me $150 for the pictures, but I didn't get it. But he got my pictures and they were in the journal. See? And it was just because of the timing, just because I was following that thing without taking pictures until I says, okay, now something's happening. See? So it trains us, it trains us to be on the lookout for what's going to come out. Now I'm 71 years old and I'm not as fast as I used to be.
well, just to say that, see, the F3 had the motor drive, right? If I'm not mistaken, the motor drive shot 4 images per second.
You mean incorporated?
No, 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 no. That was the F4, but the F3, there was a motor drive you could add to it.
Yes, it was, but
right?
I didn't have
that
one.
means at a 36 exposure film, you finish it in 9 seconds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I mean? But did you see when they came out with the 250
Yes.
shot? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it cost like at the time $4,000 or $5,000 these days.
By the way.
Food, that's it.
Mark, just so you know what it was you had on the back of the camera, you had these 2 huge cylinders that one side contained the unexposed film, and there was a motor drive that just threw the film into the other.
It would give you 250 shots. But yeah, so it says that's special. But only Time Life had them, National Geographic had them. I didn't have them.
And I know there's guys out there, and when I say guys, I mean people out there that are going to say, AJ, because I always get it. I'm a traditionalist. You know, practice makes perfect. Photography is as much. I mean, there's a reason why it's a craft. It's practice, right?
Yeah,
And I know I'm going to have people out there say, "Oh, you know, AJ, you got to open your. You got to open." I hate this phrase. Faut que tu ouvres ton esprit. Listen, for the number of years I've been doing photography, okay, I know exactly how open I am. I'm one of the biggest generalists in photography there is that I know of. I do astro to macro. I do sports. I did event for 20 odd years. I I play with every single body that comes out of the companies months after. I know what these cameras can do, but I also know that photography, no matter what, is light.
absolutely.
That's all it is. It's capturing light. Now, for the people who don't want to know all that back, you know,
We have
that back,
telephones.
that's exactement. You can go ahead and go with all the automations that we've introduced from the companies, from the camera companies, and basically get what you get, or you get what you wanted au début. It's like Mark, I was telling you when I called you yesterday about you were talking, you had asked me about the why your hands looked so much bigger,
Proportionate to the body.
proportionate to your face and to your shoulders. And we found out finally that you had shot that image at 41 millimeters. But if you had shot it between 70 and 135, because you have a full frame camera, your hands would have been much smaller. I mean, this is a bad example because evidently I'm using a webcam. So my hands look much bigger than
Yeah,
the big head that I have. You know what I mean? Because the focal lengths are so short. But
Yeah.
that's a distortion.
look, see, look at my hand is a lot bigger than my head. Look.
There you go. There you go. Right?
No, but you see things like that. I mean, it seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people don't get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they don't get it until you show them, until they actually, and this is an exercise that I practice on a daily basis, on a weekly basis with my clients. And I'll say, okay, put yourself at 70 millimeters. Now take a picture of me from here to here. Good. Now put it at 50. But keep this frame.
Yeah,
That means you have to advance. Do it at 35. Do it at 28. Do it at 24. And there's nobody who's going to take a portrait of me with a 24 millimeter. I don't care what photographer you are, it ain't going to work with me. My jowls, my nose and my jowls become so big that it's ridiculous.
no, but that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. You know, that's why between 70 and 105 is the perfect portrait lens.
Mhm.
Because it doesn't smash too much and it doesn't itch too much.
Exactement.
You know, naturally you can take a portrait with a 50 millimeter too, and you can take one with a 200 millimeter.
Absolutely.
But, you know, the perfect is in between those amounts. Too.
Because don't forget too, the moment quand tu détires trop ton focal, right?
Yeah.
When you use too large of a focal length, what you end up doing is you flatten the image out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, your background
is going to be right here. See?
Exactly.
You know,
I mean, that's how we end up putting the background out of focus. It's
absolutely.
not just the aperture.
No,
you know, this is one of the things that I've always had qualms about since I've been teaching photography is we define depth of field simply through the aperture, but it's not just the aperture. There's four things happening. It's a distance from me to the subject to the background, what focal length I use, and what aperture I use. Because an f4 at 70, an f4 at 100, and an f4 at 135 don't have the same depth of field.
You know, it doesn't have the same depth of field. Absolutely.
Right? It's just that it's easier to say if you want a blurred background, use a large aperture. And if you want a sharp background, use a small aperture.
Right.
But a small aperture at 600 millimeters, f16 will not get you that background sharp. Because at 600 millimeters, il y a trop de compression.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
And that's why when we start taking photography, we say start taking your nifty 50
Yep.
and start using your feet, which is a good
Absolutely.
lesson.
Absolutely. You know that Alfred Eisenstedt from Lifetime Life Photography used only Leicas with 50 mm lenses on them. He never used the telephoto. He never used the wide angle. He just used that. And the guy, the guy was like for years and years and years, life's main photographer too. And it's boils down to learn the tool that's in your hand
Yeah.
to express what you want to do. You know what I mean?
But we always have our favorite lens. But like I said, as I bought lenses, I would use one for quite a while until I got comfortable taking pictures with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because if you kept switching around, and sometimes you switch around really quickly, and it sort of makes those little mistakes. It's like I didn't notice when I took the picture of the famous rock, the rock star. It doesn't help to have a kid's guitar in your hands either, because the guitar, the guitar. But anyways, that's the room I had. When I did the setup and things like that, and I asked my girlfriend to press
Button,
on the
yeah.
shutter,
Yeah.
she won't pay attention to the little details of how big and this and that. It's like when I developed the picture, that's when I looked and I go, "Oh, the guitar doesn't help, but my hands are extra big." Okay, when you're not behind the lens, it's kind of hard to see if you have something
Absolutely.
to correct.
Absolutely.
That's why self-portrait, I've always found self-portrait to be the most difficult. Because for me to look through the lens and fix my focus, well, that's not me at the
Yeah,
on
exactly.
thing. I gotta kind of imagine where am I gonna be? I'm gonna be at that distance.
Yeah.
And I've got to try to imagine what it's because even if I put my son or my daughter in my place, well, ils n'ont pas le même portée que moi.
No, exactement.
Mm.
C'est ça. No, but ideally, the only thing I can say is that the ZF, I can see everything on my phone
On your phone,
through my camera. But
absolutely.
even at that, I can't take a picture like that. So, you know what I mean? I got to adjust it, see it, okay, close it,
It's up.
that way there, you know what I mean?
And to think that auto portrait, self-portraits, the autoportrait, were done as much in film as they were done today
Absolutely.
in digital.
Absolutely. For sure. Good.
The selfie image we know very well. Vivian Mayer was the, I
She
mean,
was
The queen.
what's the selfie?
She was the queen, absolutely.
She was the queen.
For sure.
A third, if not two-thirds of her photos had a reflection of her somewhere in the photo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've had many self images of myself in car mirrors.
Mirrors, yes, exactly.
Car mirrors. Yeah, I had a few of those. So, but what do you want? The rest is just learning. You know what I mean? It's learning, and we never finished learning. I mean, listen, I'm 71, and fuck, there's still things I would love to do that I haven't had time to do yet. You know what I mean?
And it's funny because I've had customers come into my classroom. I specifically remember this one person came twice into my classroom, almost a year and a half apart, with the same freaking attitude. In that he'd ask a question, a technical question, but he wouldn't let me even start to
Answer it.
answer it because in his head, what I was saying was at a level of a novice and not at his level of advanced. That's twice this guy's come to me. And I'm just waiting for the third time just to say, I'm sorry. Ça marche pas. Please. I'll reimburse you the class, but it obviously doesn't. You don't want to hear from me. But you don't go into a classroom and ask an instructor why a certain thing works or doesn't work and not want to hear what that. I mean, evidently, I'm Anglophone. I'm Italian, English. So my French, even though I think I'm pretty good. I mean, Mark, you and Uncle Bob both are even more bilingual than I am. But I think I express myself well enough that for the last 10 years, I've been able to teach in French and actually converse on photography with the clubs and all that stuff there. and I get my point across. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer than normal, or it takes me a little bit longer than peut-être un francophone à 100%, but I still get there. You
Yeah,
just
yeah,
gotta
exactly.
afford me that time.
Mais je pense que des fois, on prend une photo, puis on est tellement, parce qu'on vient de dépasser un niveau, tu sais, comme on dit, on prend une photo, mais on continue de s'améliorer. Alors, on essaie toujours de se dépasser qu'est-ce qu'on faisait avant. Mais peut-être que on a de la misère à recevoir la critique. C'est comme une notion quand on est un enfant, qu'on veut faire plaisir, on veut montrer que hey, j'ai réussi à faire ça.
Mhm.
Puis là, quelqu'un dit, mais hey, ton petit renard roux, il a de l'air d'un panda, là, tu sais. Alors, je
But,
pense que des fois, non, mais AJ, je pense que des fois, c'est ça qui peut
ben,
arriver.
c'était même pas ça. C'était pas à propos d'une photo ou une comparaison de photo. It was a technical question. I have this type of camera with this type of lens, and I have this type of camera with this type of lens. Yeah, but I got to get into the explanation of optics, how it works on the body for you to understand my response.
Yes.
You've got to give me the time to get into the answer. This guy just got up and walked out. Says, hey, listen, I don't know what I said wrong. I hope I didn't say, but he just that's it. And I understand that there are, I mean, we're all different. We all assimilate information differently. We all learn differently. But à un moment donné, if you ask a question, sois prête à répondre, sois prête à recevoir la réponse, peu importe comment qui est offert.
Mais
Ouais.
surtout si c'est une affaire technique.
Yeah,
You know, c'est une affaire technique, c'est une explication de la physics of the lens or
Exactly.
the physics of the camera. You know, c'est pas la même chose que dire your light is off or this or that.
no.
I mean,
And that's the thing too, is that people today tend to consider themselves to be so much more informed because all the information that's on the internet, but the majority of us understand that what is on the internet, unless it can be properly absorbed or properly analyzed, just knowing that this parameter, this parameter, this parameter does this, why does it do that? You don't know, right?
right.
So you can't have.
I'll be honest with you, since I have digital cameras,
Yeah.
with menus that have 10 pages, you know, I'll never know what the camera completely does.
Exactly.
You know, I'll never know. And I don't use 80% of what
For sure.
it can do. But I don't want the camera to do it. I want to do it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? In our day, even if you go up to the Nikon F3, I don't know the F4 because I never had one, but the F3, I still was in full control of what I wanted to do.
Yes.
You know, and I didn't have to go to scene, and I didn't have to go to P, and I didn't have to go to, you know what I mean? I was doing what I wanted to do. Whereas today, any camera, even a camera this big, has about 50 things in program that it can do, you know, and you can't remember them all. Me, I have in my phone the instruction books for all my cameras.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't remember. Sometimes I want to do something and I say, fuck, I'm sure it does it.
Oh yeah.
And I got to go look in the book to see what it does. Does it do it? See?
Well, the functions on a camera, to my opinion, are tools to help you take something. But you have to know your camera to take the basic picture.
Exactly. Absolutely.
From then on, if you want to have a push button where you can focus on the eye and help you take it, if you have some problem or something like that, it's a tool.
Yeah,
you got to know. It's like, remember our old math teachers? You have to know what 1 + 1 is before you get a calculator.
Yeah.
After that, get the calculator to speed up and do more and more faster, more efficiently.
Yeah. But honestly, most of the time, I'm either in M or I'm in A. Once in a while, I was in S, but I found that the problem with S is that if my shutter speed is too high, the camera sometimes cannot stop down or open up to what's needed.
Exactly.
So then you get either an overexposed 1,000 of a second or you get an underexposed 1,000 of a second.
And I'll
So
even be,
I'd rather be an A and, you know, figure out that it's a slow shutter speed that I need or something like that. You know what I mean?
and je vais te rejoindre en même temps. I find that once you plateau at over 1/2000th of a second, most of the time, check your highlights. Your highlights are blown out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
'Cause the
found that
camera can't.
I found that on my first vacation in Rome last year, especially when on bright days, it couldn't stop down enough.
No,
Couldn't stop down enough. The lens could maximum was f/22.
c'est ça.
You know, and it wasn't enough. I would have had to put my shutter speed at 1/4000 of a second.
C'est ça.
You know what I mean? Steady as good. And then the next shot, I might need, you know, 1/200 of a second. You know what I mean?
I couldn't believe it. Today I gave a class. It was the first class I gave this morning. It was on the Fujifilm X106 Mark 6, or they like to call it the VI.
Okay.
The electronic shutter, okay, I flipped when I saw this, goes up to 1/180,000th of a second.
Yeah, man.
1 sur 180 000 millièmes de seconde.
Yeah,
That's, I mean, come on.
absolutely, absolutely.
But it's used only, or mostly, I should say, when you're shooting against the sun. So en contre-jour.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe, I thought I was sure we were still at about 1/32,000th of a second. So sorry, no, 1/32,000th of a second.
Yeah.
1/32 000 millièmes de seconde. But no, apparently now we've hit over 1/100th of a thousandth of a second.
Of a second, yeah.
1/100,000th of a
Of a second. 1/100,000th of a second.
second, c'est ça.
That's it.
See?
But, you know, I'm a little old school for those, you know. For
Yeah,
those.
I mean,
I like to keep my ISO under now. Listen, if it was for me, I'd keep my ISO around 800, but I find 800 is like passé for some
Yeah.
situations.
c'est ça.
Because today you have gams of lenses and all this stuff here. So now I put it at maximum 3200.
Mhm.
But depending on what program I'm using, if I'm using manual or if I'm using S
Right.
or I'm using A. So that, you know, that plays with the ISO too, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to leave you guys.
Yeah.
My thing is Sunny.
Yeah, we're gonna start to closing it down. I
But-
do want to thank you both for being a participant with me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I sort of changed the subject on you guys.
Oh,
No,
that's
but
okay,
it's
that's
good, Mark.
good,
It's
all
good.
good.
It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
That's what this
good.
is about.
Exactly. It's a round table.
That's
J'avais
right.
même préparé des photos pour montrer qu'est-ce que je pensais pour le message. T'as tout préparé ce coup-ci, tu sais.
I'm sorry, it's me who cut it short, but I have to
Ben non,
do
y a
something.
pas de problème.
Let go.
No, pas du tout, pas du tout. We will meet up again next month.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll probably do a few of my own that I'll just set out as lives, just like that. If you guys want to, if you see me and you want to get on, you'll be able to get on. I'm going to start leaving this open while we're on so that people can join à fur et à mesure.
Sure, man. Wait, something.
Um,
I'm gonna try and shoot a few more pictures into the AJ site.
Sure. And me too.
Rather
I
than
got all kinds of scans that I did now too.
Yeah.
Now that I'm doing more film than I am doing digital.
Yeah, okay.
But I wish you guys a wonderful week.
Yeah.
Merci à
Thank
vous
you.
deux.
Thanks, Mark. On va se voir mercredi.
C'est ça.
Yeah.
Parfait. And I'll tell you guys, I'll let you know how it goes with Victo puis La Prairie.
Yeah, I'd like to know that.
Right.
Take it easy, guys.
Take care, guys.
Merci, bye,
Bye,
tout le
bye.
monde.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Stop the feed first. And streamers. And so apparently
Yeah.
I
You're
was
still
trying
recording.
to do this before we got together.